Absueni como all channels so aha age protects abadi. Podcast house trend emi kuzi big headlines. And a jumbre na idibi exumo. Ni dimnya ho braximo. Be shock se woni ayanko political highways na wona. Ene ye breaky mount say ye Sammy Awuku. I beg your pardon, Sammy Awuku. A former NLA MD. Unia EOCO for etimi Detained. Na wababa onten so ababa kasa onia yachichiribi ediegu mfremama yedibi exom enti yensemre ndembo ngura Sammy Awuku asoye denhwan semahodo a hwedigu ho efa detention and arrest no age protects our
MPP and this. That's right. Now, me opposition. That no me do to be what that's your business in MPP for pa o man tiba ma kan for to be sir. And now be a breaking news say. Yachi wo yoko. Eti me hu and I'm say me. Maybe the day I wear be here so I know was with them. Maybe the day so be share some. And I question that. I'm also with them. Wow, we Ghana for so social media now. Who told data and now I don't need anything from you. But the only say I'm not going in pay the this. Omuna media ni yake. What you show me? Why you come here make you and ma mu 20 million. Eti Sammy Ghana for o dey me o dey man la chame. All national president dey wan want to me too sure. Then the man who say Ghana not to Azani. Azani mu pa Sammy Awuku mi moja. Me ko share me ko draw. Come here me me 3 sure. Come 3 sure. 10 million na come dey so. E problem ni make am to the new national to boss na bi on Sammy Awuku odo pa di Ghana ni bia obenya kwanya de kama besusu obeka semenya fa owe o se da paper will be a quotation ye ne compare nya me fa bon say ye na yoko boss ro ko wo china onu anka so onu abesa asa ma wesika se kofi ma what me nchiro wa chire se wa ye de dia edi Sammy ni ya chu kura so de ntia abusiafo no we wa ya chu kura me ni am di mu be collapse that's right aka chire yoko boss say masa surety I tell you ain't possible if don't papa and very my better if they were bujira for do jina for we wa do obi I Ghana for wa o kan no me nyew be mum e ya mo ka sama ne kure
Good morning. I see that the weather is taking a toll on you there. It's okay, but I hope you're well.
Yes, I'm very well. Very well, thank you. It's good to be back on Ghana's #1 talk show, as usual. I hope I can do the rituals. Let me get my seat well. Yeah, so thank you, the people of Ghana. Though I'm far away, it's exciting to be back here. Let's greet Sophie Kufu Yasantua. Thank you for standing up. We hope we'll see more of you. It shouldn't be that because now you are no longer on the Council of State. That's the end of the engagement. The public will still want to hear your views on various matters of national interest. We'll go to Sjourd'hui after that. Thank you, Togbi. More fire. You know, Togbi talks about capping the numbers on the Supreme Court so that you will not have the packing of the Supreme Court by each government that comes in. Maybe we should be looking at it again, right? And then Domahine Osiadeyo Ajimabedu the second. Thank you. Domahine more fire. And Gamanche Kintaki Tekuchu the second. Thank you. Men above 40. Another announcement that you should do the prostate check. Yeah, everywhere you see there is increased education on getting men to do the prostate check. We don't want to lose you needlessly. And of course, as you do the prostate check, please stop peeing by the roadside and other public places. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Senor Jose as well is going to be joining us shortly. He is one of the leaders of the One Ghana movement. Also a public policy analyst. He's an expert in this energy space, very close to the conversations and happenings around this matter around that time. And Mr. Bachi, I'll start off with you on this, especially because of your publicly stated position. And if I say you, the organization that you represent, when this matter came to the fore 2015, you had raised questions about this entire transaction. And then now this. If we're going to look into what went wrong, who has to answer what, where should we be looking at? Hello, Bemboachi?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, I think that is a very loaded question. But we can hold those who contracted the power accountable for everything that has gone wrong. At the time, I mean, in our institution, we were clear in our minds that there was something amiss for the Aksa contract on the basis that, I mean, we had an emergency situation, we needed power plants. So usually you go to the market and look for plants that are available. And the most available ones you get will be engines and used ones, because it takes time to order brand new equipment. So if you are going for used ones, you really have to factor in the investment that the company would have made to procure those equipments, and be able to do some basic checks to see how those equipments are priced on the market, and that helps you determine how much you should also be paying for those plants. When we checked and looked at the power plants that were assembled by Aksa to bring to Ghana from Sri Lanka and other places, we saw power plants being procured for $1.2 million, $1.8 million. So they were essentially engines that were put together, about 20 of them, to get the 370 megawatt capacity. So if you do the math, we saw significantly lower investment, and yet you had a contract that was signing up for a potential payment of $720 million. And the fundamental question is, if you buy equipment of those numbers we're seeing, roughly around $30 million, give and take, you paid bribes, you did installation, you bought land, everything to it, rounded up to $100 million. On what basis do you come to Ghana and agree with the Ghanaian authorities that you will charge us $720 million over the life of the plan for 5 years? So the math didn't make sense to us, and that's why we kept criticizing and pushing back to see how we could go back to the table and also activate other processes. I mean, beyond the minister signing, constitutionally, the Parliament of Ghana is bound to do extra checks, gather evidence, question those who are negotiating on our behalf, to actually make sure that there is savings for the Ghanaian public. And so that's why sometimes we make the noise trying to activate those structures to make sure that we can do proper due diligence and save the Ghanaian public some money. But it all amounted to nothing, and the contracts were approved as presented, and we end.
Oh, sorry about this. We'll rectify the connection to Ben Boachi. And Ben, you were on this path of establishing exactly what happened on these specific dates and why it is important. And you mentioned Parliament as well, and Parliament was mentioned in this. Some of the members of the committee at the time have also come out to indicate that they never met this gentleman in question, this man. They never took monies from him beyond the allegations that he has made, that some monies, and as I read directly from the transcript, some $46,000 was alleged to have been paid to members of Parliament or Parliament in that committee specifically. Allege Amadu Sorogo, who was then the chairperson of that Mines and Energy Committee, we spoke to him this week. He says he doesn't know anything about it. He's not met this man. And Adams Mutawakilo as well, who is the CEO now of the Ghana Water Company Limited, managing director, has also, denied meeting this person. And the Honorable K.T. Amon, who was then the ranking on this committee, has also indicated he never met this man. And guess what? He is now lawyer for Dr. Kwabena Donko, as we do know, and both of them were on the committee, the Mines and Energy Committee of Parliament. I'm going to show it to you shortly. Mr. Bachi, you were on a point before I lost you.
Yeah, sorry. I mean, technology fails sometimes. Yeah. So I was making the point that you need these institutions to do the necessary checks to make sure that what the ministry is doing is right and it saves the Ghanaian public money. But that duty, really, Parliament failed on it and just approved what was brought before it, in spite of the questions that we had raised, in spite of the advocacy that had ensued. So to really see this case evolve as it has, it clearly tells you that there were factors that really drove, the nonchalance and the fact that you didn't get anybody to listen on this matter.
I see. But then you talk about Parliament failing, right? And I did indicate that even Goldman Sachs, and this is available in the transcripts, this is almost a 100-page transcript, so it makes some time, you really understand the position that right from the beginning, Goldman Sachs itself raised concerns, right, about this transaction. They pulled out at some point, and the concerns they raised is also what actually formed the basis for this probe, right? What should Parliament have taken into consideration at the time in debating and considering this deal?
No, I think ultimately Parliament's role, we can debate whether they actually have the capacity, but if you spoke to the Parliament, the proposals on those, committee, Honorable Katie Hammond, and the rest who tout that they are energy experts. So you needed them to do the needful, the right job of examining the investment. Because in any model that an investor submits, you have to analyze how much they are pricing their equipment, and that informs you on the negotiations you do. So we may want to question Honorable Hammond and the rest who were to aid. I mean, on a committee, you wouldn't expect everybody to be an energy expert, but there are people who claim to be, and you needed them to do the needful to support the committee. So what data did they have on the plans, the 20-year-old plans that were being brought into the country? What analysis did they do to show that there was value for money for Ghana, particularly when these are sole-sourced contracts? You needed some level of due diligence done to be able to aid, government position in the arrangement. But it was obvious that those critical work were not necessary to the committee, and that is what actually resulted in just approving the same thing that the investor wanted or provided through the ministry. And you check how Parliament work on these matters. In most cases, it is a day before the committee. So if somebody brings an agreement, a memo comes to Parliament, and the committee only has a day to go through it, there is no way you're going to be able to scan the market to see whether the plan was even available, listed somewhere. You can dig to see how much, like we did. We had to really dig the plans. If you put the engine numbers in Google at the time, you will see where the plans were coming from. And therefore, that aided you to know reasonably what the investor was putting in to help you negotiate. But the thing comes before the committee, and the same day they approve it, the report is written, it goes to plenary. The required, standing order is suspended for the agreement to pass. There's so much a hurry. Say 3 years of doomsday can be solved overnight, right? And then you get a contract approved. It only makes sense when you hear a court say that people were just busy receiving money and didn't care about what the average person would pay for in Ghana ultimately.
I see. And you talk about the path, and this is it. When this went before the committee, you say that the same day when this report on the Aksa deal, and by the way, the reason why it was so sourced was because it was in an emergency situation, right? We found ourselves in this doomsday all over the place trying to find solution to address it. But then the critical issue you raise is about the speed at which this ran through Parliament, correct? That when it came before the Mines and Energy Committee at the time, based on the records that you have referenced, it was approved on the same day. And then it went to plenary.
No, I must say that is not only a feature in the Aksa contract. Check most of the high-value transactions that go to Parliament. Most of them get the same waivers. The order, I think order 81 or so, gets suspended. I mean, that is an order that allows parliamentarians, for example, if my MP is not on the committee, Parliament's own standing orders says that when a report is laid before Parliament, it must be laid for at least 48 hours. And that allows an MP who wasn't on the committee to now look at the report, peruse it, satisfy him or herself that that report merits approval, and then it is debated. But once the Energy Committee looks at it and they brings it to plenary, they suspend the order that allows my MP to do also an additional check and be sure that all relevant questions are raised and then it's approved. So those were the order of the day. All the contracts, all big transactions get a suspension of order 81 or so, and then it is approved at plenary. So if you have 20 members on the committee, what it means that the over 250 members are useless in actually understanding what went on at the committee level, except those who are at the committee level coming to plenary to convince everybody that it is worth, approving. And it gets approved. And that is the practice, the standard practice in Parliament, where big ticket transactions get suspension of orders and committee bulldozers. So if you're able to compromise the committee, you are game. You are done. I mean, it will go through. And that is something that in our parliamentary practice, we need to really check to make sure that Parliament works as a body. You can't have every member of Parliament sitting on a committee to assess a contract, but every member has, the right and need to have the opportunity to examine reports that come to plenary much more closely and contribute to it.
I see. And let me acknowledge the presence of Senor Osei, as I indicated earlier. He's just joining us right now. And in terms of this space and his understanding, a former CEO of the Ghana Bulk Oil Distributors and an advisor to the minister as well. And at every stage, when it comes to how some of these issues play out, really in the energy and power space, he has his footprints there. Senor Osei, good morning.
Good morning, Alfred. It's good to be here, and good morning to the people of Ghana. We all have one country to serve, and that focus must be the passion of every Ghanaian. And I hope today's conversation will be devoid of as much politics, and let's get practical about this. And this subject is a very sorry story. It's a story that seems to me.
We and some of the channel so. I mean, and also the blade. I said so. What do you do?